Welcome inside the vault on a Thursday. It's the 2nd of October. I'm Bobby Trossett. This is Sarah Ellison, and today's live stream is brought to you by us. Our new apparel line since July has been live. It's thevaultpod.com/shop. We hope you go and check it out and see if there's anything to your liking at thevaultpod.com/shop. You can find all that and more in the show notes. Partner, we've got a lot to get to today. Eric, every time you're trying to pay attention to the camera, and then all of a sudden this red feature starts like blinding you with light almost. Yeah, that's a red $100 super chat from Eric Hill. We'll get to those in just a bit. Eric, you're unbelievable. He's already gifted 20 memberships as it is. It's hard to concentrate, but we do have a rundown to get to, and that is Dan Orlovsky, as you see it in the title, exposing the shocking, hard, whatever you want to call it, truth about this Ravens offense through 4 weeks. So we'll get into that and a number of other things, including taking a look back twofold, really, yesterday, Sarah, at Femi Ayanbadejo's interview.
So good.
He was kind enough, the former Super Bowl winning Raven, to bring in, 30-plus minutes of expertise. Mm-hmm. And I thought he was tremendous on a number of levels. So shout out Femi. We're going to cut to him twice, actually, today. One in the side of things when it comes to this disconnect, this perceived or straight up substantive disconnect between Todd Monken and John Harbaugh. And then part two will be about his theory on just how far back Lamar's injury may go. So all that and more. And, oh, by the way, who needs this win more coming up on Sunday at the bank, the Texans or the Ravens? It's a 1 o'clock kickoff, week 5. They're both 1-3. And the Ravens, as we know, are reeling. Great to see you. What's going on, partner?
It's good to see you. I mean, everything's going on all the time. We're always moving around here. Off to a great day. But, Bobby, it's interesting. I was recently reminiscing about a time when we were live on this show, kind of in free agency time. And everybody was wondering, will the Baltimore Ravens sign a running back to pair with Lamar Jackson? And it happened. It happened in March of about 2 years ago, and the Ravens went ahead and signed one King Derrick Henry. And everybody was so excited, including me, to where I tweet out the following statement. I said the NFL made a big mistake letting the Ravens put Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in the same backfield together. Bobby, that tweet was very popular at the time. It was so popular that when Lamar Jackson went and interviewed with Complex, he read it out loud, and here was his reaction to it.
I made a big mistake letting the Ravens put Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in the same backfield together. I stand on that too, Sarah.
All right, me and Lamar Jackson on the same page. On the same page when it comes to Derrick Henry. But you know what? On this October 2nd morning or afternoon lunch period, it doesn't feel like a mistake. It doesn't feel like the NFL made a mistake, although it could still be that way, because for whatever reason, the coaching staff of the Baltimore Ravens, John Harbaugh, Todd Monken, seem to feel like they don't want to make it a mistake anymore for them. In fact, they want to make their own mistakes and not use the King as often as they absolutely should in the backfield. Now, we don't know if Lamar Jackson's going to play this Sunday. He probably won't, in my estimation. But whether it's Lamar or Cooper Rush or Tyler Huntley, I don't care. Things need to change because, as Dan Orlovsky of ESPN pointed out, he is shocked, and so should all of us, despite some of the fumbling, of how little the Ravens are using Derrick Henry.
All right, found out something about the Baltimore Ravens this morning that shocked me. So we're a month into the season. You're trying to figure out who these teams are, why they're playing well, why they're playing poorly, what they have to fix, how they can play better, what can maybe catch them in the end type of thing or bite them over the course of the season. And so you're watching every single snap and trying to formulate what's going on. I'm not a massive numbers person, but there are times when I see things on tape and then I'll send a note or a question to like a research person, a stats person, a hembo, so to speak, and say, hey, I'm seeing this. Do you see that? And found this out about the Ravens. And again, it absolutely shocked me. A month into the season, the Baltimore Ravens with Derrick Henry are the 32nd ranked offense in the NFL when it comes to giving the ball to their running back on first or second down, meaning they run the football on first and second down with their running backs, the least out of everybody in the NFL, the Ravens. Yet when they do it, they're second in yards per carry at 6. So to kind of just summarize it, the Ravens on first and second down give the ball to their running backs less than anybody in the NFL, yet they're, when they do, the second best offense in doing that.
How can there be such a dichotomy? On first and second down, Bobby, because on third down, depending on the down and distance, could often be passing situations if you're like 3rd and 5 or longer. So that could absolutely be a easy time to pass the ball. But on first down and on second down, when Bobby, with Lamar Jackson, since he's been a Baltimore Raven, the Ravens have been historically good at rushing because of his threat. Even if he's not running himself, we know just his threat opens up things for the running back next to him, which in my mind is one of the reasons why Derrick Henry had a career year last year in yards per carry. Dan Orlovsky wasn't done. He didn't just want to put that on Twitter and be done. He took this to NFL Live and also had one more statement. I want to get your reaction on the other end about the Ravens' identity.
So far this season, through 4 games, the Ravens have lost their identity and they lost their way as an organization, as a football team. They're not physical anymore.
Can I just repeat that? Not just lost their identity, but lost their way. He's so right. We have to hear it again.
This season, through 4 games, the Ravens have lost their identity and they lost their way as an organization, as a football team. They're not physical anymore on either side. Yeah. And Marcus said something yesterday about Derrick Henry's got to get more carries, and I was like, stop, let's not overreact. Going back to last week's Kansas City game, on first and second down, guess how many carries he had over the course of that game on first and second down?
Last week?
Yeah. 6.
12?
Oh. Wow.
He carried the ball 6 times on first and second down. Yeah. So I think there's a reality where the Ravens have gotten a little pass happy on offense. I love the throw. I love putting the ball in the air. I love being aggressive. But if you look at kind of the carries in comparison to last year and where he is this year, on first and second down, that's where you should be feeding him the football and allowing him to have an impact. 6 carries on first and second down.
Is some of that because they were down?
No, it wasn't. Just to answer his question, because in the first half, it was already bad. What do you got here, Bobby?
Well, yeah, let's just keep kind of packing this in and cycling through. Everybody's talking about this clearly. So, here's where Derrick ranks league-wide so far through 4 weeks, a bunch of different categories. Rushes, meaning attempts, 49. Okay, that's tied for 24th. Rushing yards, he's tied for 8th with 284. Knowing what this team has done in back-to-back weeks, Sarah, and if you look back to the Cleveland game, they haven't been able to run the football in 3 weeks, at least consistently. He's tied for 6th in rushing touchdowns with 3. He's tied for 1st in yards of 20+. These are chunk yard runs that we've grown accustomed to seeing through 1 year with Derrick in the black and black in this case, or, purple and black. He's got 4 of those. Again, that's tied for 1st league-wide, 20 yards or more, those rushes. But the first category there is, I think, what sticks out. He's tied for 24th in attempts, Sarah. You didn't bring him to Baltimore for this. You didn't extend him for this. And while let's continue cycling around, if we will, and then we'll kind of, pile in here with our final thoughts, because Marcus Spears talked about it. Femi talked about the whole dynamic between play caller and head coach. We'll revisit those comments in just a bit. But first, here's a former Raven, Marcus Spears. He's like blue in the face here. He's so upset by the way that they're misusing, or let's call it underutilizing, Derrick Henry so far. You can call it both, by the way, through 4 weeks.
Doing. I really don't. There is a tremendous amount of evidence that if you let Derrick Henry dictate games, this offense works better. Yeah. And him and Lamar dictating games with whether it's sleight of hand or whatever. Look at this on the season. 48 carries, 49 carries, tied for 24th. He's 8th in rush yards on those limited carries. He's tied for 6th with touchdowns and 20-yard rushes, 4, tied for 1st. And we left a game against the Kansas City Chiefs with 8 total carries in a game. for Derrick Henry. Now, this has been a part before Derrick Henry showed up. Y'all know I almost lost my damn mind about the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And the number of runs that the backs had as the number one rushing team in the league that season. So again, go ahead.
Do you think or expect it to be different once Likely's back consistently and Ricard comes back?
But Dan, I understand that, and I agree with you on that. But what's your best formula right now? You have to play for what's going on.
Right.
You got 7 people injured on defense, and you consistently want to push the ball down the field.
And you're not winning.
And you're not winning doing that. So again, I understand the draw to want Lamar to make plays and push the ball down the field. You did not sign this man to be tied for 24th in carries 5 weeks into the season.
That's a good point.
And if his career wasn't made on volume, we wouldn't have this argument. He gets better the more touches he has. That's been the case since he showed up to Baltimore and when he was in Tennessee.
Sarah, they need him to get as many touches as he can humanly carry or handle this upcoming weekend. I went back and looked at the season high of carries last year, and it came against the Houston Texans in what was a demolishing of the Texans, primetime, standalone, Netflix, Christmas Day. 31-2 was the final. It was week 17 of last year, and you see the numbers on the screen. Now, granted, Lamar being there and his presence obviously opens up and commands a certain level of attention. He won't be there in all likelihood coming up on Sunday. But the numbers, as you see here, a season high led to a lot of productivity for Derrick. 27 carries, 147 yards. That's 5.4 yards per attempt, a touchdown. And yes, the Ravens boat raced the Texans 31-2. It's going to be different this weekend, obviously. But so far, Sarah, as you've seen on the national side, we've been talking about it ad nauseum at this point. And as much as it feels weird to be critiquing the offense and the play calling the way we are, knowing what's happening on the other side of the ball, this is relevant stuff.
Well, it's because we already know that the offense for the Baltimore Ravens has to carry the defense. We know that this is a offensive first team now. This is not 2000. This isn't even 2023. Okay, that's not who the Ravens are right now, and you have to know who your team is. And so, yeah, we've been blasting the defense. We did it for the first 3 weeks, and that's why you knew when you went into Kansas City the offense was going to have to carry the day. And now you can't even be mad at the players. It's just what are you doing inside the booth with these calls? Marcus Spears, I think, started out that clip saying, what is Todd Monken thinking? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because last year, remember, there was some controversy with underutilizing him. And it seemed to me that at the beginning of the season, they were trying to save him for the end of the season. And they were ramping up his carries. Okay, well, what's that got to do with him carrying the ball on first and second down? What's that got to do with that? You could still, if you wanted to limit him, that has nothing to do. It doesn't mean you should limit him on first and second down. Well, you're number 32. That also doesn't mean that just because you want to if you do want to save, some gas for the end of the season, does that mean you have to go to number 32? And by the way, there's other running backs. There's Justice Hill and there's Keaton Mitchell, who's been inactive. Yeah, number 32 on first and second down. And then so it becomes, well, is Todd Monken trying to be unpredictable? Well, maybe, but in trying to be unpredictable, he's just flipped it and become predictable the other way. We know when Justice Hill is on there, they're most likely passing. We know when Derrick Henry's on there, they're most likely running. There's nothing unpredictable about it. And now you're number 32 on using him on those first 2 downs. So that means you're predictable again. You want to be somewhere more towards the average. And then, by the way, you might be thinking, well, maybe Todd Monken is doing it because of the offensive line. Semi-good point, but they're number 1 in efficiency when they do it. So it can't be all because of the offensive line either. Each one of those reasons that I'm grasping at for why he might be doing it, it isn't there. And I think it might go back to what we were talking about with Femi Aiyemdejo. Because, Bobby, when they used Derrick Henry in the first drives of each half against Kansas City, it was the Ravens' best drives. And it wasn't all Derrick. It was just that using him opened things up in the passing game. It opened things up in the play action game. So they marched down on the scripted drive. That worked beautifully. They get away from it. So it seems like maybe there was a talk at halftime. So they come back out. They use Derrick Henry again, and they're moving. Was that when there was a turnover there?
Yep.
And so but it was working again. And then you panic and you start doing it. So it's like, why are you? I mean, he was totally right. Dan Orlovsky saying that they've lost their identity and they've completely lost their way, because how can you explain number 32, but number 1 in efficiency when you actually do it? It's head scratching.
Yeah, I think it's actually inexplicable to answer your question, your hypothetical there. But, and then in one breath, it's like, okay, did it work out well for them last year, even though they scuffled early on, if they were indeed conserving Derrick Henry so that he could last an entire season and could be ready for them to be that bell cow Tennessee type Derrick Henry when it mattered down the stretch, whether it was in cold weather games, backloaded AFC North schedule, opponents. Like, yeah, it worked well for them, but at what cost? And they weren't staring at 1-3 in the face this time last year. They were staring 0-2 in the face and built themselves back up out of it. So if that's something they're trying to mirror, that's not
that wasn't a good formula last year. Yeah.
That's not a valid reason. That might be the sole reason. Okay, maybe the passing defense is the sole reason. But a part of that, especially early on, I have his game logs up in front of me right now. Sarah, you got 13 carries in what was a 27-20 loss opening night against the Chiefs last year.
Why does it keep happening against the Chiefs?
I don't know.
AFC Championship game, week 1, and now week 4.
I don't know. 18 against the Raiders was not the reason why they lost. I think we all remember why they lost that Raiders game. He got 25 against the Cowboys. They won that closely, 28-25. He got 24 in what was a rout of the Bills week 4. They won 35-10. We all remember that. 11. Okay, here's one. Oh, wait. No, let me find the Eagles game. What did he get against the Eagles? Because that, of course, was the loss. Oh, wait a second. In November, a loss, 18-16 against the Steelers. Again, an opponent that you would think you want to run the football on. I get it. They're talented up front. But this is the reason why you bring in Derrick Henry to go up to mow down competition, wear down competition like the Pittsburghs, like the Kansas Cities, like the Buffaloes. Let me make sure I get this right. 13 in that November loss to the Steelers. You sensing a common theme here? When you don't allow him to be what he still is on the other side of 30, he has proven what he can be and what he still is, then you're gonna flounder offensively. You're not going to consistently win football games. And now that Lamar is out, now their backs are up against the wall. Tennessee, Derrick Henry has to be called upon this upcoming weekend, Sarah, if they want a darn chance to upset. And that's right, upset. The line has shifted. The pendulum has shifted. The Texans are at least 2. I don't know where it is now. At least 2-point favorites on the road against the Ravens.
And there's no reason to save him for anything. Your season's like hanging on by a thread. You're 1-3, and you've lost your franchise quarterback for, I don't know, 1 to 3 games, something like that. And so there's nothing to save him for if you can't make it to the playoffs. So let's go. Like you said, let's bring him out. And meanwhile, we had this discussion with Femi Aiyemdejo. He said he didn't have any sources that he was talking to, but based off of the way he's watching it, he's trying to get inside of what's going on between Harbaugh and Todd Monken, because Harbaugh at his Monday presser absolutely blasted the play calling. Never used Todd Monken's name, never named him, but just kept blasting the play calling. And so here's Femi trying to give his own take on what's happening between these two coaches.
And what I think is philosophically disconnected is that I think Coach Monken inherently wants to be a passer. I think he wants to call passes. I think he wants to have a lot of speed on the field and spread defenses out. And unfortunately, who we are as an organization and who we are from a cultural perspective, and everything that this thing was built on is about winning in the trenches. It's about big, powerful offensive linemen and running the football, and it's about a big, powerful front seven and front four, and a 3-4 defense that stops the run. And I think Coach Monkin, and once again, I'm not clairvoyant, but this is what I think has happened. Coach Harbaugh has probably told him numerous times, going back to last year, right? We remember the AFC Championship game when Derrick Henry had, how many carries did he have in that game? 12? 8? I don't remember what it was. It wasn't enough.
Just reminder, Derrick Henry wasn't in the AFC Championship game, but
I don't know how that went over our heads.
I know. Well, I caught it 2 seconds later, but he was in his groove, and then I forgot when he was finished to correct him. But anyway, they ran the ball too little in that AFC Championship game, but it wasn't with Derrick Henry yet.
And there was also times during the season where I think he got cute, and the whole Justice Hill, Derrick Henry thing, you're tipping your cap all the time. And philosophically, and you need to have the exact same play calls and the exact same kind of the way that you put players on the field. When you switch one running back out from the other, the personnel, if you just swap backs, that's fine. Call the exact same plays. At least set it up in a way that doesn't tell you this is going to be a run and this is going to be a pass. And I know you guys have beat this to death. It is not helping the offensive line when the defense basically knows 85% of the time what's going to happen just based on the personnel grouping, right? And I think that Coach Harbaugh has probably multiple times since Coach Monkin became the coordinator said, hey, look, we need to run the ball. I don't care if they know that we're running the ball. I don't care who knows that we're running the ball. We've got to stick with the run. And I think Coach Monkin gets back to it, but then eventually, once again, my opinion, right? No one's told me this. These are Femi's opinions. He wants to revert back to I think he ultimately is, which is a coordinator that wants to throw on 3rd and 1 and throw on 4th and 1 when you have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson back there. I don't care if you put Derrick Henry and Justice Hill in the game together and do whatever you want. At least that way they have no idea what's coming. You got both guys back there, right? There is no what we call E-package where you have 2 backs and 3 receivers out there. I never see them do that. Why not do that? Why not spread them out with the receivers and put Derrick Henry and Justice Hill together, or put Justice Hill and Keaton Mitchell, or put Keaton Mitchell and Derrick Henry back there together. Give them something different to look at. This whole idea of throwing on 3rd and 1 and throwing on 4th and 1, and then when you do, you're moving horizontally from the snap. You're not moving up the field. You're moving horizontally, right? Let's go back to the Detroit call with Lamar, and the ball ends up getting batted down or whatever, or fumbled. I think you had the ball on the 1 or 2 yard line on 1st down, and you don't convert, you don't get any points out of that. That was huge in regard to the outcome of the Detroit game. And so I just think that there's this, once again, I know we're all saying it now, but I just believe that there's this disconnect between what Coach Monkin wants to do and what Coach Harbaugh knows we need to do based on the personnel that we have.
Thought he was super insightful there, Bobby. I mean, I think he's right. I think it's just we all have personality tendencies, and sometimes we have certain habits or whatever, and it's it's just instinctual for him to want to throw. He's I've got these 3 wide receivers, I've got Hopkins out there, I've got Bateman, and he knows that but he's just gone too far with it. The whole point of hiring him was to bring balance to the Ravens. With Todd Monken, with Greg Roman, it was too much running and not a sophisticated passing game. So he was supposed to marry those two. And I think he did that. But he's gone in big games. He's completely not married it. He's just gone to passing. And for most of the season he's done that. And he's got to get it turned around. He's got to put together a balanced offense to be more successful, which I feel like he did in the Buffalo Bills game.
Yeah. So inherently, I didn't bring in our the transcription from part of what Femi had to say, so I'm just pulling it up now. Quote, what I think is philosophically disconnected is that Coach Monkin inherently wants to be a passer. I just believe that there's this disconnect between what Monkin wants to do and what Harbaugh knows we need to do based on the personnel that we have. You're absolutely right. He has absolutely taken Lamar to the next level. And he has evolved this offense, and he has brought that pro style element to Baltimore, much like Lamar had during his time at Louisville under Bobby Petrino. But that word inherently maybe comes to mind. Like, that's a really interesting word that Femi chose to use, because that essentially is defined as like, who are you? Like, who are you? And Todd, if you look at his career, has worked with a number of pass first type quarterbacks. I'm not saying Lamar isn't at this point in his career. He can do whatever the heck he wants first. And he's had a lot of success in doing both. But maybe, just maybe, this is that point in the Monkin experiment, year 3 now. You blink, it's year 3, where, yeah, there's a little bit of push and pull happening behind the scenes if Femi's sort of vision is correct. And I think that still can be corrected and will be corrected. Now, obviously, all of that hinges on Lamar's availability.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to wait and see for what his timeline is over the next week, 2-3 weeks, as you've mentioned. But I don't think this isn't like something that's you can't overcome. It's not like you don't have the personnel.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you haven't already shown it before. It just sounds like there's an internal struggle being had right now, and they have to find a solution as soon as possible when you have 8 back under center. Because for now, it's for the next week or two, Sarah, it's going to be ground and pound. You better be getting push up front if you want to keep this season afloat while Lamar recovers.
And that internal struggle needs to be fixed yesterday. This is ridiculous. The head coach and the offensive coordinator cannot be the reason that your offense isn't living up to its immense potential.
Yeah.
Like, some people want to blame Harbaugh more, and maybe that's true. Some people, like Femi, will point out Monkin and what he's doing and maybe not listening, and maybe that's true. At the end of the day, it's both of them. And they got to get it fixed, because they have a generational talent with a future Hall of Fame running back and plenty of weapons. Yes, it's not the best offensive line in the world. We know that. We've dissected it 20 million times. Figure it out. Deal with your offensive line. Fix the offensive line. Don't add to the problems by having an internal struggle between the head coach and the offensive coordinator. You two are the seasoned professionals. You two are the leaders. Get it fixed. No more struggles. Just get it done. No more of this. And this offense can go back to putting up 40 burgers if Lamar returns healthy. But get it fixed. No more internal struggles.
Super chats and a read to follow. One more clip from Mina Kimes on that same exact segment, going back to Marcus Spears' thoughts on this usage or misusage of Derrick Henry. And again, on top of this internal struggle that's potentially taking place between the head coach and the play caller.
Disagree that they shouldn't be running it more. I think part of the issue is they're not running it well. They're not efficient at all. And I've been kind of trying to figure out why, Marcus, and some of the reasons for that. And there's a litany of it. I don't think they're blocking quite the way that they used to. I think the Ricard absence is huge. The more I went back and watched some of those runs, and it not only is it big in the run game, but I also think it's affecting their passing game, not as a pass catcher, but going back last year when they had Ricard on the field, so when they were in 20, 21, 22 personnel, 2 backs, they had a 69% play action rate. If you're looking at this offense now and you're wondering why aren't they play actioning as much as they used to, and this was the case in the Chiefs game even before it got out of hand, I really think they usually get to a lot of their play action concepts with Ricard on the field. And it seems like removing him from this formula has sort of gotten them all out of sorts with their personnel groupings and their tendencies out of it. And I say that not to say that it's not fixable. It is. It just feels like they have to alter their offense now and accept that they live in a new reality without having 2 running backs on the field the way they did the last few years.
No excuse, right? Because we've seen it. I don't think she's bringing that Ricard concept up as an excuse, because we've seen them, Sarah, through 3 quarters in Buffalo, at times through the air against Cleveland, at times early on in that Detroit game. I mean, really early on. Not much in Kansas City aside from the opening drive, but we've seen this offense function similarly to that in the past when they have had Ricard out there. And so while it's not an excuse, it is a part of the conversation that while he is continuing to be unavailable for them with no real imminent return timetable based on yesterday's injury report. Harbaugh's given very little on his calf. This is a reality that they might have to live in. I mean, it's Sarah, we're week 5 already. We're coming up on a third of this season now being in the rearview mirror, and there is absolutely no clarity on Pat Ricard's situation. So again, it's not an excuse, and they may not have him to hang their hat on or rely upon at any point this season. I mean, we just don't know. It's very murky.
Well, and just to go back, John Harbaugh was asked about Ricard on Monday, and he's like, if you're implying that we're not running because we don't have Pat Ricard, he's like, that's not it. And of course, he impacts it. Like he's been great. Derrick Henry loves running behind him. The reality is he's not there, but it is weird. Like they haven't put him on IR. We're coming up on week 5. So it tells me that they keep thinking he's going to be back. I think they thought he was going to be back in week 1.
Yeah.
And so here we are going to week 5. They haven't given up hope on it. Otherwise they would have put him on IR because they could use the spots with all these injuries. So
yes,
it is perplexing. Like what is going on?
Yep. I'll tell you what's going on the vaultpod.com/shop. It's been a long time since we let you guys know that our apparel line is live. We've got the link that's included in the show notes every single day. And if you're interested in grabbing, I don't know, t-shirt, hoodie, crew neck, we've been giving away, by the way, on Purple Fridays the last couple weeks. So hopefully our winners for those random giveaways, maybe we'll do one tomorrow. Sarah, you and I can check about that after the show and whatnot. See if tomorrow fits. John McClain, by the way, from the Houston perspective, will join us tomorrow at 1:30. Looking forward to having the general on as we've had in the past for all these Ravens-Texans matchups. The golf polos have been doing pretty well. Again, hearing from so many of you that you're enjoying the snapback. I'm sure it's beanie season at some point right around the corner for those of you in the Northeast. The dad hats on full display, koozies and bucket hats. I know Eric, when he was in town for the Detroit game and I ran into him outside the bank, he was rocking that bucket hat, which was awesome to see. Some mugs, stickers, car magnets, you name it. thevaultpod.com/shop. We appreciate you. And just know when you guys go and start rocking our merch, you are giving free advertising to the channel, which we really appreciate, especially when you're going into the bank and on the road with our gear on. Tavon's become our newest channel member. I believe that was from yesterday. So Tavon, welcome to official VAULTRON status. Eric Hill earlier on, right prior to the show, gifted a 20 spot. So 20 new channel members have officially reached VAULTRON status thanks to EH. And on top of that, Sarah, and this is the one that caught my eye on our way in, he dropped a $100 burger. It's a super chat. It's got a label attached to it. I'll let you take it and I'll clear my throat.
Yeah, you get ready. You get ready. He says, in case no one tells you today that they love you, just know that I do. Hashtag stop the 22. Hashtag fire prevention week this month. I did not know that.
I did not either. Yeah. And I did get a good kick out of Femi getting involved in queuing the meatloaf yesterday. I feel like we need him again. But EH, I'll hopefully do Femi well here. It's a Ma the Meatloaf. It's a Thursday edition of Ma the Meatloaf, and you gifted a 20 spot on top of that. It's okay, Tilly. I know it's windy here in St. Pete. She's got her ears pinned back right now. Does not look very comfortable across the way, and she probably won't after this. Ma the Meatloaf on a Thursday.
We just have to be careful since it's fire prevention month. When you cook that meatloaf, make sure you don't leave it in the oven for too long.
The amount of people that I swear that it's taking on such a life of its own, that whether it was my visit back a couple weeks ago or the random DMs from time to time, or even like family members being like, what is that? I said, I don't know, but we love it and they love it. Sergeant Knight for you.
He says, LFG flock not complaining, flight delayed, TBD.
Safe travel, Sergeant. Sod Blitz 34 says, I just watched the episode when you announced live that they signed Henry. I was going back looking for my super chats about Monkin's poor play calling. That's how far back Sod's research goes, Sarah.
God, let me save you some time. I do recall, I guess it was you. I do remember a super chat about somebody calling out his play calling, situational play calling. When we pushed back the other day, it wasn't that we didn't believe that you said it. What we felt like you put words in our mouth in our reply. So, but maybe if you want to go find that, I still stand by, which I just said earlier. I've liked Todd Monken because I like that he has married the passing game and the running game, although that hasn't been the case this year. And that hasn't been the case in some big games. But you had said that we were we used the word lucky or something like that. I don't remember that. But if you don't want to waste all your time, I do recall you calling out his play calling earlier.
I actually had no problem though with the lucky label. Like I do think the Ravens were lucky to bring in Todd Monken. I think he was the perfect man for the job.
You said it then. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I just think that this is his first little fork in the road through not even 2.5 years yet, where they have to, as we've already mentioned, the first 37 minutes, it's a fork in the road, and you have got to figure out which way you're going to go. You're going to go off the track, or are you going to get this thing back on and steer the ship and keep it afloat? Because I just went from road to water, but whatever. You guys get the analogy. Captain Hard says, I found it interesting that John said him and Lamar had a long talk, especially after John's comments about Todd and Lamar's frustration when plays come in. Found it interesting that John said him and Lamar had a long talk. Okay, yeah, that was part of yesterday's presser, right?
We'll get to those. Yeah, we've got his quotes.
Yep. Sergeant Knight's back.
Said, Henry/Sandler. Oh, yeah, Adam Sandler will have to wait another year. It is looking that way. Something tells me it won't matter. He'll go on a movie anyway.
Yeah, that movie casting, at least for the bet, right? That doesn't look too safe right now. Dreams writes, Derrick's first game, he had 169 yards. How does he only have 115 rushing yards in 3 games total? I hate when this team plays panic football when only down by 1 score because they forget who they are. And I've got the game log in front of me. What do you mean his first? Oh, you're talking about week 1 this year. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought as a Raven. Yeah. He only had 46 in his debut as a Raven against the Chiefs last year. And it took him till week 3 against Dallas to go 100 above. And then he did a $199 against the Bills, a $132 against the Commanders, a $169 against the Bucks. He had signature games last year, and we're still waiting for that one outside of what he did through 3 quarters to Quion's point here in week 1 in Buffalo. Devin Jean-Pierre, DJP's in the building.
Says, I can see both sides of their Henry argument. In hindsight, we are picking John and Todd apart, but he has had 3 crucial fumbles to play devil's advocate. Play does need to get better, though. I don't think that's why he's not running him, though. Like, I don't think that's why they're not giving him the ball, personally.
If it is, that'd be even more perplexing than where we stand right now for a lot of this reasoning. Saad says, we kept Pat because we were keeping some of Roman's run schemes, which is true, some of the pulling concepts. And the more we move away from them, the less effective Monken's deep ball offense seems.
Yeah.
Eric, shockingly, has become a channel member. I think he gifts too many to actually, maybe become one, or maybe he's re-upping. I don't know. But EH, you're the man. Appreciate
maybe he accidentally let his own expire. I don't know.
Linda E with a $100 super chat, starting to be contagious thanks to Eric.
It's
and Linda,
colorful super chat today, Bobby.
Yes, it is. There's blood everywhere, baby. Vault blood, Linda E for you.
There's meatloaf everywhere. She says, I was all calmed down yesterday, but the show today is getting me stressed out again. Sorry, Linda. Do the coaches hear any of the outside analysis? Are the egos too great to listen? I'm going to need therapy after this season.
I can assure you that John Harbaugh has heard, at least through the grapevine, Rex Ryan's commentary over the last couple of years, which is probably why, if the opportunity ever presented itself, he ain't coming back to Baltimore while John Harbaugh is there, Sarah. I can't imagine. I'd be surprised.
They definitely hear it. When I was a PR intern, I'm the one who, me and the other interns were the ones to compile all the news analysis, and we'd put it in one document and deliver it to everybody in the building.
Linda, thank you. I'll get to the meatloaf in just a second because we're going back to back here. KP, Kobe Pruitt's in the building. He says, and by the way, Kobe is quietly showing a Eric Hill level of generosity with us these days. He was on yesterday with me, dumping in a bunch of super chats. He's always got really great commentary. Appreciate you, KP. Why don't you take this one, Sarah?
Says Harbs was more visibly upset about getting questions about injuries than playoff losses and blown 4th quarter leads. This is a coach that no longer feels safe, and he's starting to lash out at the media and point fingers at staff. Platitudes won't work now. We've got video of him answering Lamar Jackson injury questions. But it was for all the injury questions. He's always prickly with injury questions, though.
I need some must-win meatloaf. Must-win meatloaf. Cliff Lample says, when Harbaugh feels the fire, For those who didn't hear, it's must-win meatloaf.
Yeah, I got it. We got it.
Cliff writes, when Harbaugh feels the fire, he defaults to using Lamar because he saved his job his rookie year. Week 1's collapse scared Harbaugh, so more Lamar. Dre Dog is in the house, Sarah.
He says Derrick Henry needs to be a 3-down back. It's so simple.
Robbie Pate, what's going on? RP, people will try to pin it on Monkin, but I remember an angry J.K. Dobbins in the playoffs. This is Harbaugh's fault, and he's trying to pin it on Monkin. I'll never forget J.K.'s what ended up becoming his final press conference as a Raven. Dreams, a.k.a. Queon, is back with more.
Says sure would be nice to have some speed to complement the power in the run game. Oh, wait. With his thinking emoji. And being down by 6 to KC is like being down by 3 touchdowns, I guess, SMH.
Ocean says if you look at other teams in the NFL, the Ravens can be better. Look at the Eagles. Even though they're 4-0, they have flaws. Just ask A.J. Brown. He issued an apology, Sarah, for comments that he made and a post-game tweet after the Eagles win over the weekend. Coaches are the problem, though, from Oceans. KP is back. Kobe.
He is back. He says, can I make an argument that Monkin believes in Lamar's talent so much that when the pressure is on, he prefers the ball in his hands rather than handing it off? It's like asking Kobe to pass with the game on the line. Kobe, I would hear you on that in like fourth quarter do or die moments, not from the second drive on. Like pick your moments to ask him to be Superman. When we're like in the first quarter and he's already doing Superman tricks, I'm not joking. This last week when he ran for that first down and had to dive for it, do you remember that? And it was one of those spots. It's like, wait, did he quite get it? You weren't sure, but he was scrambling all over and then finally leaked out and barely got that first down. I can't remember. That might have been the first or second quarter, but that moment I was like, Ravens are already in trouble.
Yeah.
He already has to be Superman this early in the game. You have to save those heroics for the fourth quarter. Can't ask him to do it all game long.
And KP, while naturally Kobe as cold-blooded, right, as the cold-blooded shooter that he was, the guy that you wanted the ball in his hands in those waning moments as the seconds were ticking down, let's not forget a part of his career, he had what Lamar has in his backfield right now. Shaquille O'Neal. So, like, I get it as a guard and as a quarterback, it's easier just strategically to want to have them fully directly involved in these plays, but you got Shaq that's waiting right there to either clean it up or be directly involved. Pick and roll. Come on, Todd. Lewis, for you.
In Costco, he's in Costco with my gear and check out. Oh, wait. I'm in Costco with my new gear and check out new #Vault. Oh, okay. I love that.
Yeah. Lewis, hope you're enjoying your Thursday Costco run. How many weeks will that cover you, Lewis? I'm always curious about Costco hauls. Cage Rattler, what's going on, Cage? I can't help but wonder how often Lamar audibles out of a run play to a pass play.
That's a fair question. I actually wonder. Yep.
Yeah, kind of got that flexibility. I don't know. We may never know the answer to that one, but that's really interesting. Kevin Bonham Jr. for you.
He says, I don't buy that Monkin won't run the ball. Harbaugh did the same when Roman was there against KC. We ran like 12 times. Harbaugh is the common denominator since 2008. Count the losses when running the ball less than 20 times.
And KB's back with another one. The Wonderkind Show put the data out on Harbaugh losses when not running the ball since 2008. The data is out. It's Harbaugh. KP for you.
With our defense, it's do or die after the second drive.
And another one.
Still wanted Kobe taking the shot, Bobby.
Yeah, you did. You did. But he didn't have every game winner when those two were a duo. He had most of them and the ones that you remember. But I get your point, KP. I do. I'm trying to play, and I don't even think devil's advocate's the right word. Just more makes sense of how this 1-2 tandem is being underutilized through 4 weeks this year. Thank you guys for being with us on this Thursday. Over 3,400 concurrents at the moment. Like the video on your way in or out if you could. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership today. And our pinned comment in the live chat is the direct link to supporting the Patreon community. If you'd like to become a part of that, you can do so by visiting patreon.com/ Ravens Vault podcast goes directly towards our daily efforts to bring you Ravens content year round. Okay, more super chats later on. Sarah, what do you have next for us topics wise?
Yeah, so we know that there's been some kind of conflicting reports a little bit about Lamar Jackson's status for this next week against the 1-3 Texans coming to M&T Bank Stadium. The Baltimore Sun said that he would be out and maybe out for, 2 or 3 weeks. Ian Rappaport left the door open saying that he's trying to get back. Personally, I'm not buying that report. Nonetheless, of course, since his status is up in the air, it's your franchise quarterback. It's Lamar Jackson. John Harbaugh, I'm sure, expected plenty of questions about Lamar and also the entire injury report, which is a sad sight, and we will get to that in just a minute. But here is John Harbaugh. There were 3 different questions yesterday at Podium about Lamar Jackson and his status and how he was injured. And to Kobe Pruitt's point in the super chats, he was a little bit prickly while answering those questions.
Yeah, we just kind of take it day by day through the week. You'll see the injury reports. It's really all those guys. I mean, we could sit here and you could ask me about every single guy, and it's a fairly long list. Who's got time for that? So you'll see who practices and who didn't, and we'll be working our way through the week with guys. You'll see guys back tomorrow. You see guys back Friday. See guys back Sunday. We'll get as many guys back as we can, but we're also preparing for not having some guys back, and that's what we'll prepare for, and we'll be ready to go and play our best game of the year.
John, do you think Lamar, was it one particular play in Kansas City? Or
no, I really don't have any information on that, and I really don't think it matters. It's not really what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the team and getting ready to practice, and Lamar's working. He's doing a great job. I talked to him yesterday for a long time. He's in here all day today working and in the meetings and different things like that. So, it's just kind of what we do.
With Lamar, I know you grew with all the info. You would say day to day with him?
How about I just don't say anything? Okay. That's what I would do. I just
don't want to take anything out of it.
Yeah. Why don't we just leave it alone, and we'll just,
Will be out 4.
Yeah, thank you. The injury report will be out at 4. Great.
What's funny is that's all he really has to say because he clearly doesn't want to answer injury questions. I don't blame him. No head coach wants to. And so just do the Bill Belichick and just give a 3-line answer and say, hey, the injury report will be out at 4. But he I don't know why. He always feels like he needs to give a little bit of a speech or whatever of why he doesn't want to talk about it. But Bobby, it was interesting. In the first answer, he's like, who's got time for that? And it's like, well, clearly all of us. Bobby has time. Sarah has time. The fans have time. The media, that's all they really want to ask about. There's other questions or a lot of questions or filler questions until they can get to their injury questions. It's Lamar Jackson. We've got time, Harbs. We've got time. Then the second question, which we're going to dive into quite a bit, is he was asked, was there a particular play? You'll notice he cut her off before she finished it. That one came across as very defensive of didn't even want to felt very defensive when it was asked, when did he injure it? And then the last one was how about we just don't talk about it at all? So the reason why that second one though, Bobby, was most interesting to me that he cut it off, it probably because of the conversation we had yesterday with Femi Amedejo, when he was he doesn't feel like Lamar got injured for the first time in Kansas City, right? But before we get to that, to kind of build up to this point, you got a clip from Chris Long a couple days ago saying that Lamar doesn't look his normal self and saying the speed isn't quite there. Can we play that? Because I think he had been noticing this for a couple weeks.
Yeah, so there's 2 different clips, and
okay,
help me out here because we don't have it in our waiting room right now at the moment. Yesterday, there's essentially hey, look, I think the organization's failed him at different turns of the road. I don't believe that's what you're referencing.
No.
But he did say that and went on to talk about, the way that he's had to run around given the current state of this offensive line through the first 4 weeks is not something that's going to suit him. And went on to say things like, look, he's clearly dinged up right now. And if he is dinged up, or if he isn't dinged up, he looks like he's lost a step. Clearly he's dinged up. We know this by now. We've seen the sideline footage from a fan that was in attendance as Lamar went to shake hands with Patrick Mahomes. We've obviously seen now the severity of multiple reports that potentially suggest that he will not be available. Maybe it's even a 2 to 3 week timeline, which puts him out toward, potentially week 8 after the bye. And now in comes rush hour for, this upcoming potentially 2 week stretch leading into the bye. And then they have the Bears out of that. Do you need me to get that clip?
No, I think that right here is fine. You had already transcribed it. This is you kind of summarized it here, but here we've got it on screen. On Lamar Jackson, Chris Long says he could be dinged up. He could be dinged. He could be dinged the first month of the season, but I have noticed just a little bit of a loss of a step. It feels like when it's time for him to make that magic that so often bailed this team out, he hasn't been able to make it. Not with his legs. And I think Ravens fans, Lamar fans have all kind of seen the same thing. And so some people might go ahead and speculate and say, wait, is he losing it? Not at this age. He's not losing it at this age, which is why I thought what Femi said yesterday was really intriguing, because in the early parts of the Bills game, he did have his normal step. And then suddenly it went away. So here's Femi's just speculating, like, when did Lamar Jackson really get injured?
That something happened in that Buffalo game. I don't know if it was the Ed Oliver hit or not, but something happened in that game, in my opinion, that affected his hamstring. And anyone that's been an elite level athlete, you don't have to have an acute hamstring injury for your hamstring to be affected by a particular play. You can have a core injury on any play. It could be from, anything from your hamstring to an abdominal muscle to a groin injury. Those things can all look the same and look completely, as if it was nothing, and it can hurt you. You can have a strain, but you can continue to play. You're just not going to have your 100% full capability. And I think that's what happened with Lamar. And the reason I say that is, if you look at the Cleveland game, I don't recall one designed run. And I don't really recall Lamar taking off. Now, give Cleveland credit. They got a great defense, had a great game plan, but that never stopped Lamar from doing Lamar-type things ever, right? The Detroit game, that shoestring tackle by Muhammad, that in my opinion, if Muhammad doesn't make that tackle, that's a touchdown. Normally, Lamar steps out of that. And there were a couple other plays in that game that I think Lamar normally steps out of. He just didn't seem to have it, in my opinion. But he had it for the first 3.5 quarters of the of the Buffalo game. So it's not like Lamar just lost everything. For those of you that are track aficionados or fans, Justin Gatlin ran a PR in the 100 at like 9.8 something at 35 years old. Lamar is what, 29? So Lamar has not lost his top end speed. And there's a bunch of use cases in the track and field world about track athletes PRing in their mid 30s, late 30s. I'm talking 100 meters. I'm talking like elite level sprinting. People are still PRing, right? So Lamar is not anywhere near to being tapped out in regard to his top end speed and athletic ability. So that was the first thing that prompted it. I just wanted Bobby to know that I don't think that it was, I don't think he's lost a step. I don't think he's lost any escapability, but also like the way he's trying to escape is atypical. You notice Lamar was dropping back further and further and further. He wasn't stepping up in the pocket. You know what I mean? I think because none of that has been working. There's nowhere to step to. And even when there was, I don't care how good you are. If you feel pressure and you feel like you can't find a safe spot or a safe zone, you just almost go into panic mode. And I'm not saying it's panic mode in the sense that Lamar doesn't know what he's doing. It's more like, hey, nothing is working. I'm getting hit from a different person every time. I just think the natural tendency is, let me just get away and buy time, right? That doesn't play into Lamar Jackson escaping the pocket necessarily either. And I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole on escape lanes and, how protections and certain outlets for backs and all these different things come together to allow some type of game plan for escapability. But I do see what people are saying. I just wanted people to know that I think that the injury happened in Buffalo. I don't know it for sure. Obviously, I'm not clairvoyant. I can't read anybody's mind. But everything I see tells me that it's something that happened in the Buffalo game.
And I had asked him specifically, Bobby, because a lot of people were asking about Daniel Fa'alele, or it wasn't, we speculated it was, people were accusing Daniel Fa'alele, but we got no word of who it was, but it's an offensive lineman stepped on Lamar Jackson's foot during training camp and he had to miss a couple of days. And so I asked him, is it possible that it was then? And he said no, because he had it at the beginning of the Bills game. So, and you made a good point. Remember, you said there was that GQ article where Lamar revealed.
I was wrong on that. It was the Post, Washington Post.
Oh, it was the Washington Post. Okay, well, but he had revealed that he was injured in which game?
So if I'm remembering it correctly, GQ was something that he had done, I think, at a different time. But
okay,
the Washington Post, I believe, released an article on the day of or the day prior to the rematch of the AFC Championship game last year. That's right. In that, Lamar had kind of opened up about, because remember, all this talk was like how Ms. Felicia Jones was like, why aren't you running more? You know, like, what's going on here? And that was like a big topic of conversation. Was that after the AFC Championship game, or was that?
No, that was last year at the Eagles loss.
Okay, excuse me. So, but anyway, clearly I just confused that with the December 1st game, to your point, against the Eagles. But also in the AFC Championship game, we observed, and many others observed, like, why was Lamar so unwilling, at least to his standard, to tuck it and run when the play gave him something, like when play allowed him to do so? And then ultimately he revealed in that article the day of the rematch that he just wasn't fully healthy. So it's part of it.
And so who knows? I mean, obviously it's so weird because obviously there's injury reports and you have to report injuries, but when it just happens all the time. This scenario that you're talking about. How about Roquan Smith revealing to the Baltimore Sun right before the beginning of this season that last year at the beginning of the season he was injured? Yeah. Like you hear these stories all the time when players finally reveal injuries, but they were never on the injury report. You know what I mean? And so that's why it's not crazy to think that what Femi is saying based off of what he's watching Lamar, that all of a sudden that 1 week he looks like himself and then suddenly he's not anymore. And again, like whether it was the Ed Oliver hit or something else. And again, it brings back to like John Harbaugh, like cutting off the question. Like when exactly was he injured? What play was it? He's like, we don't really need to get into that, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway.
I went ahead and got exact wording for you too, by the way, because I want to make sure from that Washington Post.
Washington Post? Okay, what is it?
He gave an interview to the Washington Post. This is dating back to September of 2024. And a CBS article that was quoting certain pieces from that interview says Lamar Jackson blames, quote, hurting legs for Ravens title game loss to the Chiefs. Quote, we should have won that shiz. Let me make sure that I have other specifics from it, but hurting legs, right? Suggesting that he was nowhere near 100%, which is what led Lamar to not escape the pocket maybe as freely and as willingly in that championship game. So just wanted to be thorough on what I was referencing. Was not GQ. It's a Washington Post article dating back to last year.
Well, meanwhile, thanks for digging that up so we can have it at the top of our minds. The Ravens are preparing. I did see a tweet that the Texans are still preparing as if Lamar Jackson is going to play. But in Baltimore, I think the players are preparing as if he's not going to play, because Mark Andrews was asked about the challenge to play without Lamar. He said, it will be a challenge, but I have a lot of faith in the guys. We have a bunch of fighters. Good. We're going to need some fighters. John Harbaugh was asked about Cooper Rush, who was in line. He says Cooper's experienced. He's been in these situations before, as has Tyler Huntley. Cooper's up to speed. He's been with us all the way back to the beginning. He's been in every practice, every meeting. He knows the offense. He'll be ready to go. So there's that. Meanwhile, Bobby, we're just talking about Lamar's injury, but unfortunately, it's not the only one. It's not even close to the only one. This is not a situation where the Ravens are like, hey, we still got a great defense. We got a lot of things going for us. We still have all these other Pro Bowlers. Like, we can keep this afloat for a couple weeks until Lamar can come back. And we had a practice report at the end of yesterday, but there were some guys that we didn't know they were injured because they were at practice, but there were some on here that we didn't even know about because they were limited. Look at this list. If you are watching on YouTube, you can see it. This list goes on for days. This is giving me shades of 2020, shades of 2021.
21, yeah.
Like, it's bananas. I'm going to let you go through the list because you're really better at pronouncing names, even though I guess I know all these names. But I'm going to let you go through the list. Just run through this list.
I got you because I already did yesterday, so I already have it under my belt. This is my
You're
second
ready.
time through. And you're right. It's 2021-esque where it's just a laundry list, and it's almost as if the graphic needs a different formatting because of how many names are on this list. So
The font keeps getting smaller and smaller.
that's exactly it. For our audio-only audience, this is the first of 3 injury reports this week leading into week 5. There are 14 total players listed, 8 of which have DNP designations. Okay? 14 total players. 8 of them are regular starters, by the way. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 DNPs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 limited designations. I'll rip through them. First name, Cheeto Awuzie is a new one, Sarah. He has been a bright spot in a secondary that's been otherwise very, very inconsistent through 4 weeks. He's got a hamstring. He was a DNP. Kyle Hamilton popped up as one of the limited players on Wednesday's practice with a groin. Marlon Humphrey and Roquan Smith, as we know from reports by Ian Rappaport, are going to miss a couple weeks. Marlon with a calf DNP, Roquan with a hamstring DNP. Lamar, we know this. We beat it to a pulp. Hamstring DNP. Emory Jones may be cause for celebration. His 3-week window ramping up from shoulder surgery after the combine. Their 3rd-round pick out of LSU, a tackle that potentially has guard flexibility. Practice debut, good for him. His 3-week window off of the NFI list is officially underway. Travis Jones, limited with a knee. Did not play this past weekend, was not available towards the crunch time stretch of that Detroit game the week prior. Tyler Linderbaum, new name on this list. Calf, limited. Pat Ricard, we've talked about it. Calf, DNP, very murky, not an IR candidate, at least not right now. Hopefully, to Sarah, your point earlier on, that suggests that they're going to get him back at some point. At the same time, he's got to start practicing. It's not just like, oh yeah, he's a participant on Wednesday next week. Oh yeah, let's play him against the Rams. Like, I just don't think it happens. The guy hasn't practiced since August. Ronnie, new name on this list.
Take a breath.
Seriously, it's required.
You had to take a breath to keep going down the injury report.
I know. And I said Ronnie's a new name. He's not. He was banged up with an ankle last week. I don't know how he gutted through it this past Sunday in Kansas City, but he did. And then to his detriment, because Joe Noteboom comes in at left tackle to protect Lamar's blind side. Lamar ends up out of the game. We know the rest of that. Ronnie pops up as a DNP with that ankle on Wednesday. Brent Urban is new on this list. He was just signed to the 53-man roster, defensive end, finger, limited. KVN missed the last couple games, hamstring, limited. To your point earlier in the week, at the end of last week, he was upgraded to limited. Perhaps he'll try to give it a go with Travis Jones coming up this weekend. Devontae Walker is new on this list with an oblique. He only played 4 snaps offensively last week, Sarah. He is a DNP, not even limited. He was a DNP on Wednesday, and Jeff Zrebeck noted yesterday that he saw on, I think it was a kickoff formation maybe, he saw him limp off after getting knocked out. When I say knocked out, getting roughed up. Nate Wiggins, not a lot of clarity. John Harbaugh, we have a slide on this that'll come in just a minute here with an elbow. He was a DNP, and that is your 14 players, Sarah, that popped up on the first of 3 injury reports for week 5.
Hey, you rest your voice for a second after going through all that. That was a labor of love right there. Okay. Jeff Zrebeck put some of this stuff in perspective, all these injuries. Says the Ravens had 11 returning Pro Bowlers on their roster this year. 6 of them didn't practice yesterday. Said 3 were limited, and only running back Derrick Henry and wide receiver Zay Flowers were full participants. Meanwhile, Jonas Schaefer has some more numbers. 14 players on the injury list, 10 regular starters, 10. 8 were DNPs, 6 limited. And oh, by the way, Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum were the 2 that showed up out of nowhere. I've got one more interesting stat that these guys didn't note. I'm going to have to note it on maybe Twitter later today. As I was looking down these injuries, Bobby, do you know how many of them are soft tissue injuries? 14 injuries, 9 9 are soft tissue injuries. Look at this list. Hamstring, groin, calf, hamstring, a shoulder and knee in there. Calf, hamstring, ankle and finger, hamstring, oblique, and then the elbow. This is the type of stuff that's supposed to be more preventable, right? Like if somebody rams into your knee, sometimes that just happens.
Yeah.
But there's so many soft tissue injuries, and Kadri's over there just stewing.
Yes, he is.
As he's like, this is all preventable. And so, like, I don't know. It definitely brings into question, like, it's just so tough because when they switched their trainers, it seemed like these types of injuries went away.
And it
These
did.
were the type of and it did.
Yeah.
And so, like, these are the type of injuries you're supposed to be working through during training camp and the preseason. Obviously, John Harbaugh, ever since the J.K. Dobbins days where he just destroyed his knee in the preseason game, and he was giving he gave the offensive starters one drive against the Washington Commanders, and that's when he blew out his knee. And so ever since then, he's taken a more cautious approach, which I've been fine with because these soft tissue injuries haven't been happening the last 2 years. So did something change? Is this a cluster? Is it bad luck? Is it like making up for all those good years? But like 9 soft tissue injuries. So on one hand, it's like, it's nice that they're just soft tissue injuries because that's why you have hope that a bunch of guys will be back after the bye. And then you have a really cushy schedule after that. But at the same time, it's like more of these should be preventable. 9 is a lot of soft tissue injuries in the first month of football.
Yeah, we don't know the severity of Nate either yet. We watched the car wreck play that he was in, car wreck-esque type play. By the way, I've said this a couple times now, and I keep reminding myself to go back and watch the replay, and I haven't. Was it Pacheco that he collided with? Can somebody help me out in the live chat here? Was Nate Wiggins? Was the play that knocked him out? Was Isaiah Pacheco? I want to say it was, but I need a little bit of help on that because I just haven't had time to go back and look yet, or I haven't made time. Yes, it was. Okay, thank you, Kafi. So anyway, this was mostly just, Sarah, in line with the prickly nature of Harbaugh yesterday, which we've already talked about. But when asked about Nate specifically, it was, quote, "Why don't we wait until tomorrow?" So that is unclear in terms of what's going on with Nate. But given the nature of the availability or lack thereof of 14 different players now potentially on this list, the Ravens are having active tryouts. Sarah, it's open season in Baltimore right now for guys that are trying to get signed. So as Jeff noted, they had 4 defensive backs in for tryouts yesterday. That was Wednesday. Michael Davis, Keemon Hall, Keenan Isaac, and Amani Oruwariye. I'm getting that down at this point. Amani Oruwariye, who's had a career that many have followed, whether it was in Dallas or Detroit. He's had 1 or 2 other stops as well. So that's kind of where they stand right now. Mina Kimes said it best in one of her game previews that I just listened to this morning. She's like, look, I pride myself on keeping up with the personnel that's ever changing, all throughout this league that we cover. And she covers all 32 teams, which is why she's such a freaking star, that she has such a good pulse on teams like the Ravens and others. She's like, but I don't know a lot of these names that the Ravens are bringing in, which is an indication of where they're at right now. And guess what? I'm with you, Mina. I got to look up who these people are aside from Amani. So anyway, that's the state of the Ravens, Sarah, right now. And I think as a result, coming up on Sunday, you will see some names that are either contributing or being called up from the practice squad that you aren't too familiar with, because that's where they are right now.
That is where they are at right now. And I definitely feel Mina Kimes' pain there for sure. Yeah. Meanwhile, we saw news come out during yesterday's live stream that Emory Jones, offensive lineman, 3rd-round pick for the Ravens, finally returned to practice when originally they thought he might be back at some point during training camp. John Harbaugh was asked how he looked, and he said he looked healthy. He looked strong. It looked like he's been training. For the first day back to football in a while, I thought he looked good. And then, there was a follow-up question about whether they will evaluate him at guard or tackle. Well, Jeff Zrebeck asked it, and he actually assumed that it was going to be tackle because I think that's what they were saying in the past. And so he said, was it like before that you're going to put him at tackle? And he's like, no, we'll look at him at guard and tackle. It'll be both for now, but more than anything, we just want to see how he looks, and then we can get into those specifics. So it does sound like, whereas before, like early when he was drafted, they saw him, maybe doing the tackle work, but they may be unhappy with the guard work. I sure hope, because I know that the rest of us are. So he might be in the guard mix if he's able to get up to speed.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, a lot of people are thinking, like, hey, replace him now, meaning one of the guards. But it's like, guys, this dude, he wasn't involved in anything this offseason. He wasn't involved in OTAs. He wasn't involved in rookie minicamp. He wasn't involved in the mandatory minicamp. He wasn't involved in training camp. And now he just made his practice debut in week 5. Like, to expect this guy to come in and replace one of the guards and get the same or better play, I don't know. To me, that feels like a little bit of a reach right now. I hope I'm wrong. His 3-week activation window has begun as of yesterday. But like, he's coming off season. We've talked about it. You mentioned it. He's come off, the labrum surgery. There was a reason why they wanted to be really careful with him throughout the entire process up until this point. So I don't know. Do expectations even need to be tempered? I don't know. Maybe that's like a stretch to say that some people are thinking this guy's going to come in and be the savior for them up and down this line. But to your point, they want to get a look at him health-wise first. And if he does have that flexibility and they can get him in, maybe they go back to the rotation, for God's sakes. They did that at tackle last year, and somehow that was somewhat success for them, wasn't it?
Why not? Something tells me that they would. Do you remember if he played on the right or left side in college?
Emory?
Yeah.
I got to go back and
look. I might need to look it up. But something tells me where they would first do it is on the side of Voorhees. I think they would do it with Voorhees if they were to do that. Because Voorhees was a part of the rotation before too, right?
Andrew,
is he a part of a rotation? Maybe not. Maybe he just I think I'm misremembering that one.
Yeah, I don't think he was in there.
Yeah.
Because after he lost his seat to McCary,
like, it was gone for good.
Yeah, like, we just didn't see him again until the Cleveland game last year. Like, it was early on, then he gets injured, opens the door, McCary shuts it, and then we didn't see him again until the regular season finale, I think. Let me see if I can get you a side here for Emory and maybe our live chat knows too. Right.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's, I can start. What's that? It was the right-hand side? Okay.
Yep.
Well, then that would be tough too.
Yeah.
To be putting a lot on him. Hey, move over to guard on the left side.
Yeah, right.
After a few weeks of practice, after coming off of labrum injury, after just coming to the NFL.
Woo.
Let me just throw you to the wolves here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. As a third rounder, it's not like he's like a first rounder,
No.
Third rounders are already like hit or miss sometimes anyway.
Yep.
Super chats?
Yes. Unless you had any more quick hits that you wanted to bang out.
Well, there's the must win game conversation, then some quick hits.
All right. King Poppy. What's up, King? Should Huntley start if Lamar is out, or should Rush start? Also, I believe if we win and get the bye week, wait a second. Oh, get to the bye week. Okay. I thought he was talking about a first round bye. I'm like, I don't know about that this year. All right. Also, I believe if we win and get to the bye week, well, so they need to win 2 games, obviously. I'm hopeful as long as we are second in the AFC North, we can make the playoffs. I got you, King. Took me a minute, but I got you. Let's see. That brings us to Kevin, who is third super chat of the day.
He said it happened in training camp. That's why it was such a mystery. How, who, and what? Just saying. Is he talking about Lamar's injury?
Maybe, but that would have been his foot, which is not what he's dealing with now.
Right.
Given the hamstring, just different part of the body, obviously. Travis Whitfield. Thanks, Kevin. Travis Whitfield says, do you think EDC made a mistake not re-signing Chris Board? I mean, Jake Hummel's been fine. That was sort of the replacement on paper. I think there's far bigger issues that you could talk about, whether it's, guard. They really haven't replaced Kevin Zeitler. I mean, it's hard to replace Marshall Yanda, so I'm going to be fair and not go back all the way to 2019. Yeah. But I don't think they've adequately replaced Kevin Zeitler. They were totally torn up by Ardarius Washington. That was total. The fact that happened in between the draft and training camp was a brutal time for that to happen, right? That conditioning on premises Achilles tear, that's just a total fluky thing that they had a really hard time with. And what else would you think about? Maybe, I don't know. Those are 2 areas that come to mind for me.
I mean, Chris Board, yeah, for sure is not like the first on my mind of like, I mean, sure. I mean, their linebacker position isn't doing great, but
heck of a teamer. The guy was a heck of a
I'm
teamer.
more upset about the trenches, to be honest with you. That's where my mind is at.
Oh,
So-
and that I could have said that too, like outside
Yeah.
of because I went to initially guard and then the back end with Ardarius, knowing that Malachi would be logging a lot of serious snaps early on. But right before the secondary, you have to obviously address up front. So it'd be those 3 areas.
But I mean, they could, if Rowe's going to be out, I mean, they could definitely use Chris Board. I'm a little bit nervous about Trenton Simpson and Buchanan, and maybe Hummel will be in there, but obviously Hummel was signed to be for special teams.
Yeah,
So,
I think you will see. I think we will see Jake, and who knows?
You're probably
Maybe we
right.
see Jay. Maybe we see all 4 guys. To be
maybe
honest,
we see Higgins.
you're throwing the kitchen sink. Remember, the kitchen sink requires all. All right.
This
Kobe
is
is
why
back.
we just need Derrick Henry and company to run.
Yeah.
Not only to like help out Cooper Rush, but to control time of possession. We
Yeah.
need to keep the defense off the field as much as possible.
And some people think that Travis was trolling. Travis, if you were, let us know, because if so, we just totally genuinely answered your question. KP is back, Sarah.
He said, I walked away. Did you guys talk about Nick Wright saying Lamar was overrated and/or Colin Cowherd blaming Lamar for the loss last week? Kobe, we had something queued up for Nick Wright. And we decided to push it for tomorrow. And here's why. I wanted to slap it all down. And I don't feel like I had everything I wanted in order to do that. So I felt like I would given a less than like my standard of being able to slap it down. But my plan is to revisit it tomorrow. There's a lot of Nick Wright stuff that I want to slap down for sure.
I haven't had a chance to look at it. I've seen it gone viral. I've seen Mina have a little bit of fun and all that. But yeah, I'm sure we'll incorporate it to your point.
I want the proper prep work here so I can put on the best game.
Why not on a Friday? It's almost too perfect to
Friday
be
will
true.
be fun.
Vince says, I personally think Pat Ricard's injury is an Achilles tear that they keep calling a calf injury. The timetable for a calf injury isn't nearly as long. Well, what do you have outside of just the speculation of the timeline? What makes you think that outside of the timeline of Pat? And because it's so murky that I have a hard time like hopping on that bandwagon.
Yeah, I put more stock into Jeff Zrebeck's reporting, and I know he said with you on the collective that he believes that Pat Ricard had a setback in with the calf injury, that the Ravens were expecting him. If it was an Achilles, they would have put him on IR. They've been needing the spots. If it was an Achilles, they would have put him on IR.
It would have been done.
It would have been done. They're not trying to like what would be like the motivation or the strategy or like what would be the advantage of hiding an Achilles injury and not putting him on IR.
Thanks for the super chat, though, Nick. And appreciate all of you guys for being with us today. Even you, Taurus. Over 4,500 concurrents at the moment. If you could like the video, subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership. And if there are more super chats, we will get to them after this. Go ahead.
Just a quick, we just got asked about Nick Wright. We do have a small Nick Wright clip, but it's not the one that everybody's talking about. This is one where he claims to be a Ravens guy. Bobby, on First Things First, they were doing a regular segment where they, bring up, must-win games and who needs it more. Last week, we did this with the Ravens and Kansas City Chiefs because they were both 1-2. We were all like, dang, either the Ravens or the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be 1-3. And here we are a week later, and it's the Ravens that's 1-3. So now the Ravens are going up against the Houston Texans, and both of them are 1-3. So it's going to be like, okay, one of these two teams is going to be 1-4. So who is this more a must-win game for? Nick Wright has confidence in the Ravens after the bye, and that is why he doesn't think it has to be like it. Obviously, the Ravens would like to win, but he's like, I don't know that the Ravens need it as much as the Texans. Here's his thoughts.
Texans now favored in Baltimore over a Lamar-less Ravens team. Here's how the numbers shake out, Brew. Houston's offense, terrible. Ravens defense, terrible.
I am the show's Chiefs guy.
Yeah.
I also oddly kind of became the show's Bills guy last year.
No.
Have I now just become the Ravens guy? Because I don't think it's a must-win for Baltimore. I think if they lose without Lamar and fall to 1-4, I still think they can win the AFC North. I still think they can pull themselves out of it. Houston, on the other hand, this is a must-win. They're not pulling themselves out of 1-4. Their season is over. If they lose, you lose to the worst defense in the league with a backup quarterback. Who the hell are you beating other than wild Tennessee Titans? No offense, buddy. And so, like, the Ravens, if they lose this game, I don't know about Brew. I'm going to come in here Monday and say they're okay. The Texans, they lose this game, they're done. So it's not a double must win. It's a traditional must win only for Houston.
Okay, he asked the question, did I just become the Ravens guy? No, Nick. You cannot simultaneously say, oh, I'm the Ravens guy just because you think that they can rip off 6 wins after the bye, even though it's a good point. You cannot be simultaneously the Ravens guy talking about that and then also ripping Lamar Jackson left and right, comparing him to James Harden, saying he's overrated, calling out, starting Twitter debates with Mina Kimes online. All those things we're going to get to tomorrow. But no, you are not a Ravens guy. You are not a Ravens guy. Don't try that. Don't be slick with us. But to his point, yes, the Ravens can rip off 6 wins after the bye if Lamar Jackson and many of those other guys are back. And if John Harbaugh and Todd Monken have gotten on the same page. Bears, Dolphins, Vikings, Browns, Jets, Burrowless Bengals. For sure they could. That being said, I don't care that it's more must win for the Texans. The Ravens better go out and win this. They need it for morale. They need it for fixing, like, it just feels like they're mentally broken right now. They need to keep hope alive so that when Lamar and company do come back, they feel like they're actually playing for something. A lot of these guys, including John Harbaugh and the coaches, everybody, their jobs are on the line for a lot of them. Like, yeah, Texans are probably done. The Ravens could go on a roll, but I don't care. You need to win one of these 2 games before the bye. And it seems like the Texans is the much better opportunity than the Rams at this point.
Guess what I don't care about?
Nick Wright?
His logic. I don't care about his logic.
Okay. Okay.
Sunday is must win. It's not a mathematical must win. It's not a logic must win. It is straight up a must win. Across the board for them. Got to have it.
A morale must win?
It is just any word you want.
Mathematical? Because you said it's not that.
Well, not mathematical. It is a must win on Sunday. They're not beating the Rams. I don't think they're
not without Lamar. They're not.
Yeah, not without Lamar, and not with this defense, as you see on screen right now, that ranks bottom of the barrel in so many different categories through 4 weeks under Zach Orr. 31st overall, 27th against the run, 31st against the pass, 32nd dead last in scoring, 24th on 3rd down, 27th on 4th down, and 28th inside the 20s. I don't know. It's a must win. I guess it's fine what you said. It's a morale must win. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
job saving must win.
Maybe for coordinators. Because I think we all know that Harbs probably isn't getting the plug pulled on him.
No. Yeah. Steve Bisciotti's not doing that in the middle of the season. I don't think.
So that's where I'm at on it. It's purple on purple, by the way. Those are your game day threads.
Purple on purple.
Yeah. Yeah. What do they call this one? Is there a specific one?
Well, I would say it's the Color Rush, but this one they're not showing the what's their new helmet called?
The
Rising?
Purple Rising.
Purple Rising helmet. This picture doesn't show the Purple Rising.
But it shows the king in the purple, and there's a reason why he's the signature on this one, Sarah, because they're going to need him early and often. Tennessee, Derrick Henry needs to show up, and not just show up, but be allowed to show up come Sunday. So, again, we had the numbers earlier on in the show of what he did against the Texans last year, and granted, Lamar was beside him in the backfield, but 27 carries, that was a season high for the king in year 1 with Baltimore, 147 yards, 5.4 yards per attempt in that Christmas Day shellacking of the Texans. He scored a touchdown. They're going to need all that and more from him in this pulling out the stops phrasing that we continue to use. Pull out every single stop in the Derrick Henry category as you can to give yourself a chance to not only dominate on the ground, but allow Cooper Rush to hopefully show his passing attack a little bit if they have to respect the ground game that hopefully the Ravens are able to get going with Derrick.
Okay, a couple more quick hits, video style. So in the AFC North, as we've discussed, the Cleveland Browns are benching Joe Flacco, and they are now going to start their rookie Dylan Gabriel. And there was a lot of controversy because the media went into the locker room and went to their 5th round pick and 3rd string quarterback. Although I guess, wait, is he still the backup or is Joe Flacco officially the backup? Number 2.
He's still the 3rd string. Flacco is going to be QB2 this weekend.
Okay.
Yep.
So they went to Shedeur Sanders to get his reaction. And he got blasted for his reaction because what he did was basically pantomime his answers, like moved his mouth, but no voice actually came out. No volume came out. I definitely think he was trying to troll the media. He definitely got blasted. I happen to grab this clip from Nightcap where Ocho Cinco defended it, whereas everybody else is blasting it. So here's a quick look at how he answered a question and then their reaction. And then Bobby will get our reaction on the other end.
How much has Joe been important to both of you and Dylan in terms of your guys' development to this point?
Man, y'all might.
Look at Ocho, he's laughing.
Ocho, do you like the way Shedeur handled this press conference?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because whatever he says, they're going to twist his words. If you say nothing, there's really, on any other team, there are 31 other excuse me. There are 31 other
what happened to his voice?
Do any of those media members talk to the 3rd string quarterback?
No.
Oh, it's controversy. Why create controversy? How do you not create it? By when they ask you questions, just don't answer. You just don't answer. If anything, they should be talking to Joe Flacco. Why are you talking to Shedeur? I mean, it makes no sense, and I like the way he handled it because anything he does say, they're going to make it a big deal. They're going to twist his words. They're going to take it completely out of context. Listen, Dylan Gabriel's a starter. So be it.
For me, I mean, it's being reported.
Yeah.
Adam Schefter reported, and some other networks are starting to report that this was his response to Rex Ryan saying what he said on the Sunday show, that keep your mouth closed, move to the front of the class, and X, Y, and Z.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
I guess this was a situation where he's like, okay, I should keep my mouth shut. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. It's hard for me to believe that the scenario that he didn't talk to his father. Obviously, he leans very heavily on his father, rightfully so. His dad has been through things like this, where he says something, and then if he says something, it's one thing. If he doesn't say something, it's another thing. So he took this approach. Look, he's not just any other quarterback, any other third string quarterback.
No.
You and I both know if he was any other quarterback and he slid down where he did, we wouldn't even be having it. If he was any normal 5th round pick, we wouldn't even be having this discussion.
Yeah.
But he's not a 5th round pick. So we shouldn't ask him to act like a 5th round pick because that's not what we believe he is.
Okay, you were laughing a lot in there. What's going on over there? What are you laughing at? Ocho Cinco. He also pulled out a cigar, which I know you would love to join him on with that.
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. I think I was pretty predictable there from Ocho. I think I expected that from him because he's had a few press conferences that were polarizing in his time, right? as a Bengal. Don't think anybody's going to really be particularly surprised in our daily audience of where I fall on this. If I had my fun hat on, I thought it was hilarious, actually, the way that Moore handled this. From a fun, if I had my fun hat on, I thought it was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
If I have my, I guess, coverage hat on, business hat on, whatever, objective hat on, I say to myself, why do you care what the outside is saying about you? That clearly was a direct response to some pretty harsh words by Rex Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
But a locker room is supposed to be sacred, and nothing infiltrates the locker room. Shedeur allowed that to be infiltrated by responding to Rex. It clearly was a response to Rex. And while I think some of his words, because he is constantly peppered by media members in Cleveland, it's their job to do so, by the way, given the nature of this story and given the quarterback carousel that's currently going on in Browns land, it's also Shedor's job to be a good teammate. And I thought a better way to handle this, given that they're asking him specifically about Dylan, build up your teammate, build up the team, build up the room, and just take it in stride and move forward. Instead, it became a media circus, as most things tend to be. And I think that there's a lot of validity to what a friend of the show in Cleveland, and help me out with his name, Tony Grossi, had to say recently. And I know some people hate Tony Grossi for his coverage of Shedor, which I think has been fair. To me, it's been fair. And that is, there are times, Sarah, where I think Shedor has a hard time being out of the limelight. He's been a star his entire career up until this point, where he has not been somebody that, clearly based on Cleveland's evaluation and based on the draft's evaluation back in April, is seen as a starter right now, and maybe not even a primary backup right now. Should he get that opportunity at some point this year? Should Dylan Gabriel not take the reins? Absolutely he should. They got to see what they have in him. But I just didn't think it was the right way to approach it. I didn't think it was being a great teammate at all.
Yeah. No, I think what you said about like business hat versus fun hat is like pretty valid. And that's the thing though, is as an organization, you always have your business hat on. So obviously the organization is going to want him, and the team is going to want him to say, hey, Gabriel's is the next man up. He's my teammate. I want our organization to win. I hope he does well. I'm always a competitor. I always want to kind of be out there myself. I don't even mind saying that. I'm always a competitor. I'm always competing, and someday I'll get mine, but for Sunday it's Dylan, and I hope the team wins. So that's for sure. Every NFL team wants their backup quarterback, or especially third string quarterback, to not be seen or heard. But to Shannon Sharp's point, he's not just any third string quarterback. And we know that. Which is why Rex Ryan is talking about him, which is why the media went in there. And I think that Ocho had a point. Like, I think two things can be true at once, where, like, of course, teams are going to prefer that he give them more business-like response. And at the same time, sometimes you just get fed up with media antics. And it's like, no other third string quarterback would be asked. Nobody went to, well, maybe they will, maybe they did, but it certainly hasn't made national news. Did anybody go to Tyler Huntley today or yesterday? It was open locker room. Tyler Huntley's been a starter here before. I didn't see anything hit my timeline about Tyler Huntley and his feelings about Cooper Rush getting the start. You know what I mean? And so, like, Ocho has a point there, that it's like they are going in there to stir things up. They are going in there to stir things up for sure.
And how are you going to respond to the stirring?
And how are you going to respond? Yeah. And true to what he's always been, including when, remember how we both liked how, like, you brought up Tony Grossi, and he's like, Tony, man, why are you going to you know what I mean? And he was like, he challenged Tony, but he was like fun with it.
I loved everything about that exchange on both parties.
Right. And so that's how Shedor's doing this. He's not taking it too seriously. That's his approach. And so I think he's just carried the way he approached Tony kind of the same way here. I'm just going to have fun with it. You guys keep talking about me. I'm a third string. And again, like I said, put on your business hat. You want him to just say, I'm here for the team. You want that. Yeah. At the same time, though, the media isn't getting criticized very much outside of what Ocho just said. I watch so many shows being like, what you just said, like, you got to put on your business hat, And again, that's not an unfair take, but can we say both things are true at once? Like, he can put on his business hat, but can the media stop hounding him? Like, they are going in there to stir things up. That is what they're doing. So he's taking the bait.
He's taking the bait.
He's having fun with it.
He's taking the bait, And the difference between the Grossi exchange and yesterday was that one was about his relationship with a specific media member, and it was a great back and forth, professional on both parties, on both the way they handled that. And now this is the opportunity to show, hey, you know what? When my number is called one day, and I still believe in myself, and I've shown that throughout this entire process, because he has shown at times, I think, of handling himself really, really well in the face of adversity as a QB3 with constant limelight engulfing him at all times. This was an opportunity to build your team up, build your teammate up, right? Showcase your emotional intelligence, and instead he went the playful route. And I just thought that was
that's fine. But also remember, Joe Flacco got blasted all the time when he's like, I don't see myself as a mentor, right? He could have put on his business hat and he could have said, oh yeah, like it happened with Lamar Jackson, but it also happened in Denver when he was traded to Denver. I'm trying to remember who the starting quarterback was at that time, but they had a new guy that they had drafted. And it's almost, it could have been Locke. It could have been. And almost every stop that he's had, he hasn't shied away from that. And the business response would have been, just say you'll be a mentor. Just say it. You know what I mean? And he was like, no, I'm a competitor. And he's like, I don't see myself as a mentor. I don't see myself as a teacher. And it's not like he was like a jerk. And we actually saw on the sidelines that I remember a Wired episode came out and Joe Flacco and RG3 were coaching up Lamar. So he did do it. He was helpful, but his mentality had to be, I'm a competitor. So he didn't do it in a playful manner, but he stood by it. And I feel like this is Shador's way of doing the same thing.
But
of course I want to compete. Of course I want it to be me. I'm competing. And so he just has a different way of going about it.
But would you agree that there's a difference between mentorship or lack thereof and the art of being a good teammate or lack thereof? Like, to me, there's a pretty significant difference between the two. And I think
he could be a good teammate. We don't know. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but that was the thing with Joe. He said one thing and said, I'm not going to be a mentor, but then he actually did it because his mind was that I'm going to be a competitor. But he was still a good teammate. Lamar Jackson, you can tell that they love each other. Like Lamar, the way he hugs Joe and Joe hugs him back. We saw it at the NFL Honors Awards show. We saw it again a couple weeks ago when they met in the middle of the field, and it was like a legit hug. It wasn't like just a quick whatever. Like they both leaned in. Like they obviously love each other. So Joe was a good teammate. They obviously like each other. But Joe wouldn't change. He was like, I'm a competitor. I want to be a starter. So I don't know maybe there's more information out there that I'm not aware of because we don't cover that team, but maybe Shador is a good teammate in there, but he also is like, I'm not going to play these media games. Like, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Practice reports are out today. Beat reporters are just sharing, again, Thursday's practice report, day 2 of 3 going into week 5. And of course, Lamar is not seen at the media portion viewing of today with his hamstring, nor are the following players: Roquan Smith, Cheeto Awuzie-Sarah, which would be a second consecutive potentially DNP for him. Kyle Hamilton is not seen. He was limited yesterday with that groin. So we'll see where things are at with him. Could still be a limited day for him. Just because he isn't seen doesn't mean he's not going to be in DNP, potentially. Pat Ricard and Marlon Humphrey. So the players that were back, Sarah, and this is a positive for the Ravens secondary here and both sides of the ball, quite frankly. Players that returned, according to Bo Smolka: Nate Wiggins with the elbow, Ronnie Stanley with the ankle. That might be the biggest of them all. Wow. And Devontae Walker with the oblique. Those were the 3 that returned.
Roquan was out there. Is that what you said? I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I was just looking at a Bo Smolka tweet.
Roquan was not out there.
Okay, my bad. Okay.
Yep, it was Wiggins, Ronnie, and Devontae. Those are your 3 returners. And then Lamar, Roquan, Cheeto, Kyle, Ricard, Marlon were all missing in action, which doesn't necessarily mean that Kyle will be a DNP later on, right? Because he was limited yesterday. But it is relevant that he's
oftentimes when you don't see him in the beginning, they end up being the DNPs. But okay, so wow, that's great, Ronnie. And Nate Wiggins, maybe that's why Harbaugh said, why don't we just wait till tomorrow? Remember, Harbaugh was asked about him, and it came across as prickly, but maybe he was signaling that Nate Wiggins would be back.
Yep, I do.
Oh, that's great news to have Wiggins back. Great news to see Stanley in there. And good news for Walker. He's always, I just don't, he's not going to get a ton of snaps, but.
Ronnie might be, I think Ronnie sticks out the most in terms of what would be a major, major positive sign if you're Cooper Rush Man.
So yeah. So if Wiggins can, yes, that's a great sign for Cooper Rush.
Oh, man.
As long as he's not dragging that ankle like he was last week. We saw the film of that. So let's hope that it's like significantly better.
Yeah.
But this is very helpful because now you'll see Wiggins on the outside and probably Jair Alexander, maybe TJ Tampa. So you got those three to play with. Who am I forgetting? Maybe I'm not forgetting many because there were so many that are injured.
I got lost in the sauce of processing the returners and the absence. You said TJ Tampa, Wiggins,
and Jair.
And Jair.
Yeah.
And then Keon Martin will probably continue to get some time.
Yeah.
And
Keon will be in the slot, yeah?
Maybe.
Nickel?
Maybe. Great opportunity for him back-to-back weeks. Unbelievable shoestring tackle on Xavier Worthy in space. That was incredible.
Oh, man.
Xavier Worthy? Why do I feel like it was Worthy? If it was, and whoever it was, I don't care who it was. Unbelievable play.
Yeah. Open field tackling. When he wasn't even invited to minicamp to try out, this guy's story is unbelievable. And he does. Even he popped off of the TV. Like you couldn't stop noticing him on the TV during the preseason. But I noticed him so many times against the Chiefs also.
Man.
It's like this guy is unreal.
Hey, and by the way, as folks are correctly pointing out in the live chat, remember, Tyler Linderbaum was on the injury report as we discussed, and that means he's out there today. So
yeah, but he was out there yesterday. He was just limited.
Right.
It's Kyle Hamilton that's a little bit nerve-wracking.
Right.
It's a little bit scary because he was limited yesterday and now.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Yeah. I mean, to your point, he might be a DMP if he's not seen. But the fact that Linderbaum, maybe he's still, who knows, maybe he still shows up as a limited, right? 3 hours from now when the injury report comes out. But overall, if you're searching for I don't know, an ounce of good news, maybe you got it today. Here you go.
It was just offset with Kyle Hamilton being not at all out there. But again, we'll wait for the injury report. Shoot, what was I going to say? I was going to say something, and I thought it was a good point, but I forgot it. So it must not have been that good.
Okay. More super chats have come in. Let's see.
And I only have one more quick hit, which is funny.
Why don't you go ahead and play that?
So you know how the Pat McAfee show reads tweets that go out to him that's like, I don't mean to overreact, but I edited this one. But Bobby, I found a new word that we could substitute for a curse word. We're always looking for fun ways. I'm always looking for fun ways to substitute them out. But this tweet in the McAfee show is about John Harbaugh. Here we go.
Ginobili. Hashtag I don't want to overreact, but Ravens are shite. Harbaugh is shite. Zach Orr is shite. Fire sale the whole damn operation. But wait, who's got it better than us? Literally everyone. John, read the room, dude. They don't like John Harbaugh right now. Huh?
Great use of exclamation points there.
Yeah, so they do not. Ginobili really did a good job. I don't know if that was actually Manu or just somebody else, but I appreciate that tweet. Ravens fans are in a bad spot right now. Ravens are in a bad spot. Let's hope they get it fixed. Good luck over there, Baltimore.
So
Good luck over there, Baltimore.
Just to make sure I have this correct, and you want to bring it into our terminology, shite. That's what we're going with.
It's kind of fun.
Okay, shite.
Shite.
The Ravens' run defense is shite. Okay, that's a little dangerous there, partner, but we'll try it.
I think shiz is more dangerous.
I guess we'll see.
Scary.
I guess we will see. Okay, we left off with Vince in the super chats, so let's pick things back up with somebody who's become, I guess, a daily regular since he found us Chiefs week. And that's Blast Hard Cheese, noted Chiefs fan, who writes, if I wasn't one of those, I'd probably despise Nick Wright just because of his voice. But his takes aren't typically outlandish, exaggerated at times. Sure, I think that's probably a fair way of evaluating Nick Wright. And again, we will have more on that tomorrow, as Sarah's already noted. And Blast, thanks for apparently becoming a regular of ours. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, that's great. Dre Dog says defense played much better when playing press. The 7 to 9 yards off the ball crap needs to stop. Shid. Another way. Is that Dre editing for me? Shid. They getting beat anyway. Might as well press. We have so many options for that. We got shiz, shid, and shite.
Wait, defense played much better when playing press.
Needs to
The
stop.
7 and 9 yards off the ball crap needs to stop. Should they keep getting beat anyway? Might as well press.
I think he's saying should they getting beat anyway.
Dre, let us know.
Yeah,
Let
Dre.
us know. Oh yeah, okay, I got you. I didn't have that interpretation down the first time around. Eric Hill says, so not Ravens related, but I will say it. I'm in the process of starting 2 to 3 new businesses.
Oh, wow.
Dude, how do you have any time
How?
under the sun? So I will still be around and gifting or super chatting here and there. Don't be surprised by a third account from me. LOL. Eric, 2 to 3 new businesses as a full-time firefighter and as a regular super VAULTRON.
Is he a full-time firefighter? Don't firefighters usually like they're on for like a certain amount of time and then they're off for a certain amount of time?
EH, let us know what your schedule's like and how on earth you are possibly fitting that in. You're the man, dude. Congrats. Like, good luck. You're the man. Did I get this wrong, Vince? I called you Vince, didn't I? My name is Vince, not Nick, Bobby. Actual Ravens fan. I thought I called you Vince, which is what your screen name says. But if not, sorry. Maybe we were going back and forth between Nick Wright and Vince, and I screwed that up. Joe Jenkins in the house.
He says, at this rate, no Sandler movie for D-Hen. Use 22.
JJ in the house. Bosef says Sarah is right, Bobby. About what?
Everything.
Were we debating? Yeah. You like that was perfect for you, right? What?
You
Bosef,
set me up,
let us know.
so well.
Let us know. Blast. I know. You took that one and ran. Blast Archie says, Bobby, throw on your defense hat and get out there. They need all the help they can get, but I don't know if I'd be one of those candidates that could actually move the needle for them. Eric is in the house.
Eric says, maybe it's just me. You want to instigate my sarcasm will take over. I see nothing wrong with how Shador is handling this. Oh.
Maybe it's just me want to instigate my sarcasm. Oh, so there's some hidden meaning in this. You want to instigate my sarcasm will take over. Does that mean that
I see nothing wrong with how wait, does that mean, Eric, you're being sarcastic about the following line? I see nothing wrong.
That's what I'm wondering.
Oh,
so now he's got a lot of questions to answer. 2 to 3 businesses. How are we doing that under the sun? What's your firefighter commitment? And now is there sarcasm added into the super chat? You got a lot to answer over there, Eric. Captain says 0 problem with Shador. The man was criticized for consoling his kicker for missing a winning field goal and was told he was doing it for show. Captain, at times, there are times where his words are misconstrued. There's no question about it. Eric Hill for you. And by the way, I don't know what he's referencing there. Maybe I missed that because there's been so many Shador storylines. Maybe I missed that.
I definitely missed that one.
There are times, of course, where always when it comes to the media carousel that is the Cleveland Browns, Sarah, things can be misconstrued. Maybe that was even the case when there was perceived friction between Shador and Dylan, during the preseason. I don't know. But thanks, Captain. Eric Hill for you.
He says, thank you for the congratulatory and well wishes. The YouTube account I'm starting will be showing the journey ups and downs and eventually the success. For those asking for a job, get them resumes ready. Well, resumes for what? What are the businesses? We need to know. Maybe I'll turn my resume in.
My man is on a teasing spree. Let's get it. All right, Eric, you're the man. Richard Harris and Nishad, thank you both for believing in what we're building. This is your monthly shout out because of the support that you give us through Patreon. Appreciate you.
Okay, Eric Hill is back clarifying here.
Okay, give me one second. Patreon.com/RavensVault podcast is where you guys can click on the link in the show notes or as a pinned comment in the live chat right now if you'd like to become a patron like Richard and Nishad are. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you both.
You want me to pull it up?
Oh, sorry. Here you go. Eric Hill in the house. This one's for you.
He says he's a volunteer firefighter. He has enough time. He says, I am on Shador Sanders handling the media mainstream that is getting on my nerves, instigating mess. Okay, I get it now. He's saying Shador is, I got it. He's with Shador.
Gotcha.
Doesn't like the media instigating.
Appreciate you, EH. Appreciate you. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
We're not changing your mind. I know.
I think Rex has a big voice. I'm not saying that whatsoever. He's got a big voice in the NFL, clearly.
That was the other thing I was going to say. I didn't understand your comment on like where you were like the locker room is sacred, true. And then you said they infiltrated it. Usually, like when I think of like the locker room is sacred, it means that you don't let dirty laundry out, right? Like family shouldn't let like the dirty laundry out in public. That's kind of like what I think when it's like sacred. So you say like he let it infiltrate the sacred locker room. He's just responding to, like, if they're correct, he's just responding to Rex. That's not really infiltrating the locker room.
Well, it's allowing outside noise to infiltrate the locker room.
Well,
he's directly responding to Rex. Clearly, he was bugged by the harsh comments that Rex gave. So, like,
what's that got to do with the locker room, though? That's like just him responding to the media.
It's supposed to.
He's not like disgracing the locker room by responding to Rex.
He's allowing outside noise, though, to dictate his media session. Like that's my thought on it.
Yeah,
so,
I'm just usually
I guess we're just in a
it's like you're
disagreement.
betraying like your brotherhood is what usually what comes to mind when you talk about
maybe sacred wasn't the right word. Locker
okay.
room's supposed to be closed off, windowless, whatever you want to call it in terms of like tunnel vision, and they're trying to salvage this season right now, and yet. And more than anything else, and this is what bugs you from a teammate perspective, I think, is this has taken the light away from a guy who's about to make his first career start. And that's what really sucks about it, right? Like, he has single-handedly taken all the attention away from Dillon Gabriel before his first career NFL start.
I mean, he's not doing that single-handedly. Like, the media are purposely doing this because of who he is.
And he's taking the bait. I don't know. I mean, Sarah, I just think
I'm just
he
curious.
He knew what was going to happen.
I'm just curious because I don't know if you were covering the team. I'm just curious if you would have been as hard on Joe Flacco when it's like.
I see that as, I don't see the parallels there with what you're going with the Flacco.
Well, he's not giving like a business like answer of like, yeah, I've got this quarterback's back and I'm going to coach him up as much. He's like not taking. He never took like a John Hop or a DeAndre Hopkins approach. Joe Flacco never took like this DeAndre Hopkins approach that I'm here and I want to spread all my knowledge and I want to like help out and I want to build these guys. That was not Joe Flacco. He never said that in the media. So was he like undercutting Lamar Jackson and Drew Lock and other, young quarterbacks that he was behind?
It's hard for me. I see that as so far opposite sides of the spectrum in terms of like comparison game wise that it's hard to even see that. I see one as a principle and this as just a simple like, hey, this is a locker room. We are a team. We are still mathematically in this. We have a championship defense. And now Joe's been benched. Dillon is next up. I unfortunately am not evaluated ahead of Dillon, but allow me to build up my teammates so that if I do get an opportunity, whether it's via trade elsewhere out of Cleveland next year, the year after this, or if Dillon struggles and it's next up for me, then I'm going to be looked at as somebody that can be viewed as like a franchise quarterback. Look.
The similarities is what you just said. Like you wanted him to build up his teammate in front of the media. In either situation, they didn't do that with like the business hat on in front of the media.
I wouldn't say that about Joe. I think it was more so like his way of viewing his role.
Same thing with Shedeur, but he's just having fun with it. He's a competitor too.
I don't see the similarities between the two at all. But Kwame says, of course, the mob's going to come in on me on this one, right? The mob is out and alive right now on the live chat.
I do appreciate you standing your ground despite
Bobby Grossi's just hating. Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, right. This is the live chat. I mean, you never want to like generalize an entire live chat, but every other comment right now is mob-like. That's what it's like right now. So,
well, that sucks. I don't.
Go ahead and take. Go ahead. Torres says Key Mold says Bobby's a clown. Ashley says Bobby does not like Shador, right? Let's read some
Well,
of these.
that one's not mob-like. They're just saying you don't like Shador.
I'm curious because it's not true though. So it is mob-like in my mind. Taurus says just accept you're a hater, bro. LOL. It's okay, right? When you disagree with someone, when you leave an opinion after you've already said a number of things that you've enjoyed about how Shador's handled this, like the one-on-one with Tony Grossi earlier on in the offseason, all of a sudden it becomes a hatred thing. That to me is such a sad state of society. It is. It's pathetic. It's what it is.
Yeah. No, we should definitely be able to disagree and whatnot for sure. So
it's just it's amazing. Shite. You're right, Dale. This is the perfect time for shite. We clear on super chats.
Yeah, apparently shat is the past tense for shid. Okay.
Oh, what? Well, it's funny. It actually just sounded like you said it there with the D in the background.
I did not.
Oh man. Goodness.
Oh man. That's right. CJ's saying, give your take, Bobby.
I will. That's why,
and look, it's not all against you. Here's the bull. In my opinion, Bobby's right. Sanders needs to grow up and stop. Well, I
don't
not all against
why,
you.
And then of course, right. You know what's so funny about this, Sarah, is how they play it, right? Bobby's triggered. What does that mean that everybody is in the chat? Not everybody. What does that mean that the folks have taken exception to my opinion on the way that Shador handled yesterday? What does that make them, Sarah? If I'm triggered, what does that make them based on how I've responded to them? You guys are the ones that's triggered. That's how this works. All right. You guys are triggered by my opinion that I laid out respectfully on how Shador handled things yesterday. That's where I'm at. You guys, jeez. Good.
You weren't a jerk about it.
Blast is back.
Blast is back. Here we go.
And he says, oh gosh. You take this one, will you?
I feel like it's so... He says, friggin' shite you too. What a bunch of Boulder Dash. Frackle that noise tag, damn it. Crud buckets, that's the whole situation.
Oh,
crud buckets. I need some of these. Crud bucket, I'm here for.
Oh, Blast.
Dag nabbit, I'm for sure here for.
Blast is in the house. BH is becoming a regular. Love it. Okay. Now that we've revved everybody up, I think that's all the content today.
That is all the content today.
Oh yeah, Evan. Here comes Evan in, right? Evan's got all the right
stop
answers.
Reading it. It's all
right. Evan's got all the right answers, don't you, Ev? Yes, you do. Evan, Ev, you are in a relationship, and I am happy for you and your missus, recently engaged. I don't know how she does it. Because you're never wrong, my man. You are never wrong. How does she do it, man? I might come to DC. Matter of fact, I might personally fly to DC and take out Evan and his missus to dinner and talk to them about how they communicate with one another, because Evan is never wrong. He is never wrong. Are you, Ev?
No, but don't bring this girl into it. Don't do that.
Well, the only reason why is because we were supposed to get together one time in DC, so I'm not going down that route.
Okay. All right. Okay.
We were going to get together, and now I'm going to text him right after this. Get after him.
Okay.
Tyler says you guys can have your opinion. LOL, no problems. Yes. And hey, it's not to say that anybody that I disagree with in here can't have their opinion. Sarah, what's the one thing that gets it grinds my gears is when labels are attached, when words are thrown into mouths. Like, it's just that drives me nuts.
No, that's the worst is when people put words in your mouth and then argue against it. And it's like, that wasn't me.
Labels like whether it's race or hatred or anything like, come on, man, we're a sports show. This is where, again, it's not to get off onto a little tangent here. It's just like, I want more of that in the live chat, like good spirited back and forth. If you guys can't stand the take that I just gave today on Shador, let me know. And you have, but do it in a way that it is at least like I hopefully laid it out to you in a respectful, fair manner. That's what I was going for. And if you felt like I felt short, let me know. More super chats have come in. Now we're going down this road. Tyler, thank you. Mac McCoy says, why don't you do a poll to see how many people agree with Bobby on his Shador take?
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Well, I think we know how this poll is going to. What do you mean, bro? We already know what this is.
I think you might have more people agree with you than you think. There's some people in here.
Appreciate the super chat, Mac. Go ahead for Eric Hill.
Eric Hill said he will reveal tomorrow what he's doing with his, I assume with his new businesses, currently driving. Oh, yeah, be careful.
All right, safe travels then, Eric. Uh-oh, we got more coming in.
They're coming in now.
Isaiah, we need takes like that. That's what's up, Bobby.
There you go. See, lots of people agree with you.
All right.
Come out. I'm not one of them, but let them come out.
YCP's in the house. Young Cherokee Peasy. This one's for you.
He says, LMFAO, go Bobby, go. 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. Keep stepping how you stepping. Then he says, Sarah with the got no biceps whatsoever.
There they are. That's the high fitness
with
right
a
there.
flexing muscle.
Get it. YCP's in the house.
My 45-year-old biceps. There we go.
Let's go. Oh, man, this is unbelievable. And I get the sense it's going to be a bloodbath about 5 o'clock Eastern when I go live.
Oh, I will just get the Cliff's notes from you.
I'm opening up the guest lines. You guys something to say? That's the problem, though. We're not a Browns channel, though. That's the one problem. We're not a Browns channel. So we got to we got a lot to talk about. There's going to be an injury report, Sarah, that'll be very telling in about 2 hours from right now. So that's obviously what we're going to talk about.
What do you mean you're not a Browns channel? What does that mean?
Cleveland.
Yeah, no, I know that. But like, what do you?
Well, I just want to be fair. You know, I
know you're referencing the football franchise of Cleveland Browns. What do you mean that like we're not a Browns channel though, like the Cleveland Browns channel?
Well, no, meaning like I don't want it to dominate my live stream later on because I feel like we'd be doing a disservice to a good chunk of the audience. That's all.
Okay, all right.
Which is why we put it as a quick hit. JD13.
It was supposed to be quick and ended up being longer than our third topic, which was who was this a more must-win game?
We've been down this road before, okay? We have been down this road before.
JD13 says, did y'all see the Etsy witch post about the Ravens? No.
Oh, this was like what's going to happen on Sunday, right? Foreseeing, is that how it goes?
Oh, I have not seen that.
Like a gypsy almost? I don't know, but anyway. All right, you guys keep it interesting. This is unbelievable. It's 2:11 right now. Another 2-hour show for you. Let me just make sure we're fully caught up, which we are. Practice is underway. Coordinator Sarah, should be an interesting press conference coming up later on this afternoon. You and I will react to that. To your point earlier on, we'll bring in the Nick Rate, Mina Kimes comments, and Twitter back and forth coming up on tomorrow's show. And most importantly, so we can familiarize ourselves with the Texans, the great John McClain, Houston Sports Hall of Famer, friend of the show, joins us at 1:30 coming up tomorrow. So, in other words, you'll probably have a 2-hour show coming up tomorrow to finish the season, to finish the week. Okay, partner.
15 minutes to 2 hours. Let's go.
Say that again.
From 15 minutes to 2 hours. I did not foresee that when we started this.
The evolution, all because of what you guys have given us the opportunity to do. So thank you so much. We appreciate all of you, all 5,800 plus concurrents at the moment, for hanging out on this Thursday. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for a very spirited end of this show. And thanks for all of your support. Super chat donors, those of you just show up, because it's not just simply showing up. It's you guys being here on a daily basis that allows us to do what we do.
Hold on a second. Let me just check Josina Anderson real quick, because that's what the live chat has asked me to do. This better be good that we're extending the show. This better be good. Okay.
It's not. It's just. It's not that it's not good. It's just standard what we know. He's not currently expected to play this Sunday nor next week against the Rams, outside of faster healing, which still can be deceptive. The bye week is after that. That's a good safe window to help better ensure the hamstring issue doesn't appear. And what I mean by reappear later in the season when it counts more. So
yeah, okay.
Josina giving the latest, all of which kind of checks out. So, but thanks to those of you who let us know. And thanks to all of you guys for being here. Appreciate you. For Sarah Ellison, I'm Bobby Trossett signing off from this 2-hour Thursday Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. Sarah and I will be back with you tomorrow. John McClain joins the show at 1:30. We'll have reaction to coordinators, reacting to injury reports, and a number of other things. And I will be live later on this afternoon. For Sarah Ellison, I'm Bobby Trossett signing off. And as always, Vaultrons, we appreciate you so much for being here. We will catch up with you soon here inside the Vault.